the world is capping, try to get you gone. But I bring the fight right back because I'm Neishastrong.
We don't know your pain, queen, we don't know your struggle. Giving you your roses now, cause we really love you. Through each memory, yeah, your story lives on. Fighting with you through the battles, Neishastrong.
Don't ever give up. Do not ever give up, cause you can do anything.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to You Can Certainly Beat This with Neishastrong. I am Neishastrong, one of your favorite fighters, and I thank God for us being here today, and I thank you all for joining us today. Today is Mental Health Day. We know that this is a time, it's the holidays, it's the winter. We know that everybody is facing some type of mental issue, whether it's severe or moderate or acute. You know, we know that the world is getting crazier and crazier. We're seeing more and more things in the news. I myself, I'm going totally crazy because once again, I've been faced with another diagnosis of breast cancer being positive in my chest. So, of course, you know, I've been going through... I've been going through depression, out the wazoo. I know I've been about to jump off the second step at least 4 or 5 times. So basically what I wanted to do today was I wanted to get 2 therapists who I think highly of, who I see on social media, who I actually listen to, who I actually learn from, who I actually, can see us growing from, learning from 2 people. And so today I have 2 therapists on the show. I have Miss Alexia Mitchell.
Hi.
She is the founder, director of Reset and Heal. And it is an amazing mental health. It's like a retreat, workshop, boot camp type thing. All of that.
All the things.
All of that in one. And I've actually been invited to come. And like I said, it's crazy. I have to get my mental health together to even go and get help with mental health. So I'm definitely coming, and I thank you for the invitation. And I love what you're doing because mental health is very serious, for Black people. So thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, ma'am. And we also have Miss Sharonda Adams, and you're all the way in Miami, right? Florida, right?
I am. I'm in Miami now.
Yes. So I follow you as well, and I love your group. You always have inspirational posts, and you have things for people to focus their minds on. So thank you so much for joining us today. You're beautiful. You're popping. You're glowing. I mean, yeah. Me and Alexia were just talking about your skin. like okay, but
Y'all beautiful too.
I mean, thank you, but we talk about you right now.
Of course.
But yeah.
Thank you.
So, we have Miss Sharonda Adams, and we also have my little sister today, Heaven. She's going to give us a little tiny perspective on mental health when it comes to teenagers, because so many times when Heaven and I have gotten into like big sister, little sister scuffle, she always say, I need a mental health day. And I want to know exactly, what do y'all mean by I need a mental health day? Do y'all do mental health stuff? But anyway, we also have a very, very beautiful guest who you all get to meet and hear part of her story at the end of this, Miss Constance Devon. She is so beautiful and so talented. So we look forward to seeing her at the end of the show. But to kick off, like I said, thank everyone for being here today. Like I said, mental health is very serious. We're starting to see suicides. We're starting to see people acting out as far as mass shootings. It's just so many things that people are acting out on, and I think that mental health is at the core of a lot of it. So basically, I just want to start with asking you ladies, like, why are people afraid of therapy? Why do you think people are afraid of therapy?
Well, I'll go first, Sharonda, if that's okay. Therapy can be intimidating for the Black and brown community because for so many years there has been a stigma attached to it. you're crazy, or we don't act like that, or what happens in this house stays in this house type of mentality, right?
Ooh, yes, that
So,
last one.
Therapy is viewed as something is wrong with me, and we have been taught that nothing is wrong with us. This is all normal, and we're going to keep it in-house. So it's a scary thing when you have to come to terms with everything is not right. Something is wrong. And, therapy is often treated as secondary when it should be primary as it relates to your health.
I totally agree. And thank you for saying about that, what stays in the house. I mean, what goes on in the house stays in the house. Because I know, y'all know me, I'm like a voice box. I tell everything. So I feel bad, like when I come on social media, and I'll tell things that goes on in our family. But it's not necessarily for me to embarrass anyone. It's like, so many people know me that I don't know me. And it's like so many people like may see my family do things. And it's like, while I can't explain to you, personally, I try to get people a vision of what goes on for them to understand why I do the things I do without trying to tell everything. But it's like, oh, y'all think I'm so crazy, or y'all ask like why I don't have support. And it's like my family, you know what I'm saying? They don't have it to support me, but some of them just don't support me. So it's like, I have to come out here and tell like y'all this and this and that, so people won't think it's what it is, but we really shouldn't be caring about what people think anyway.
Right.
So,
right. No,
so yeah.
You're right.
So yeah. What about you, Sharonda? Why do you think people are afraid of therapy?
I was gonna say actually the same thing, especially like in our communities. And just to piggyback off of that, when we go to therapy, a lot of times it's associated with being crazy. Only crazy people need to go to therapy, like in the sense of someone with schizophrenic tendencies or symptoms. And really, you can go to therapy just for support. And a lot of people don't realize that, just to have like a sounding board to say like, am I crazy? Is this valid? Just to get validated in general.
Right. And I was going to say, too, I always tell people, where can you go for an hour and just talk about yourself?
That part.
Exactly.
Like, I want to go and just talk about myself. And then you tell me that, yeah, you're supposed to feel like that. Yeah, that's okay. You know what I mean?
I love it. And because it's like, when I try to tell my story, it's like, I feel like I want people, I think people want pity. To pity me, and it's like I don't. I just want somebody to listen to me.
That's it.
And you could tell me at the end of the story, Neisha, you crazy, but you listen to me. You know what I'm saying? You listen to me to understand. And if your understanding was I'm crazy at the end, it's cool because you still listen to me.
That's all.
And I agree with that. That's so important. That is so important. And another thing I want to know is like, what made y'all want to get into mental health? What made y'all like, the therapy stuff? Like, is it a passion? Did someone in your family need it that you wanted to be able to help in the long run? Or is it something that you just saw yourself like very passionate about for some specific reason?
I'm going to let Sharonda go first.
Okay, cool. So it was a culmination of things. I had family and people that I saw that I like wanted to help people like them. When I got older, I took psych classes in high school. I was really interested after that. And then overall, just seeing patterns in my own life. And like I said, one, that validation or understanding, like, is this for real, or should this be like this? Is this normal? And wanting to educate other people, seeing how it affected my family and other families around me, and just wanting to change that.
I love it. That's cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, so for me, I initially wanted to be a therapist, and then I changed my mind, and I went into leadership.
Okay.
And I was managing therapists, right? So then when my mom passed in 2020, I found myself in a very dark space, a very dark hole. Was at the point where I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
I can't imagine my life without my mom. And like I said, it kind of brought me back to, helping other people that feel these thoughts.
Yeah.
Because I felt them. I remember texting my friend group, my group chat, and was like, yo, I'm ready like to check out of here.
Yeah.
Like for real.
And that's hard.
Yes. And my friends was like, can I come over? I'm like, no. And one of my girlfriends came outside of my house and was like, I'm out here. You don't have to answer the door, but I'm out here praying. And, you know,
Wow.
just to
That's a great friend.
Yeah, for real. And so just to go back, I was like, okay, I need to do something different because I couldn't continue with the leadership role because of now I have new responsibilities of my brother and things like that. And so
and in your house, you guys
my
lost your
house
home
caught on fire.
too.
Yeah. So I needed the flexibility as well that therapy would, you know, being a therapist would provide me. And was starting my own business. So it's a lot, but the short of the long is no.
Yeah.
I did not want to be a therapist.
Yeah.
But it was afforded to me by my own struggles.
And I don't know if you know, and I'm sorry if I hadn't told you, but you gave me a lot of strength when you were going through what you were going through, because I know you remember when I first got cancer, you invited me to speak at the mental health awareness thing. And like, that meant so much to me because you thought of me, you know, and I appreciated that you were one of the people who could understand that my depression is real. Like, no matter how much attention I get or anything, like, I literally wake up every day sick. And I have the same routine every morning, and people don't know because for some reason I don't disclose my morning routine with people, but it hurts. I'm sick in the morning, you know, it's sad, but I have to smoke a joint, you know, to get myself back down. Then I end up going to sleep, and I literally have to wake up and be like, okay, God, let me do something productive today. You know, like, I'm a lot. I don't want to be here, you know, but it's like, I have this young lady sitting right here who's my sister, and I don't know nobody who will go hard for her like I will, you know? And so I'm like, your situation isn't my situation isn't your situation, but we both need mental help or whatever. And so when I saw you overcome your house burning down, I saw your mom pass away, and I saw you taking care of your brother, and it was like everything turned around for you so fast. It was like, it was nothing but God to me, because it was like, I was like, dang, Alexia depressed like I'm depressed. Like, she usually is the one who's like, you know, Neisha, I'm praying for you, you know. But you flipped it, and God blessed you like 10 times fold, you know, for you staying down. And I think it's because you took that extra step and to say, hey, I went through this, and now I want to help people because I truly, truly know what it feels like to go through devastating things that people need to bounce back from.
Yeah.
And I salute you for that.
Thank
you know,
Thank you.
Like I said, I chose people for this podcast that actually did something to me while I've been going through. And like I said, I could look at Sharonda's page and I get inspiration from her page. I may not like everything she posts or anything, but I get inspiration from the things that she posts on her page. And you too, I get inspiration from seeing you grow from, you know what I'm saying, everything that you've gone through. And so, Constance, like, I've been a fan, you know, she introduced herself to me when she was fighting, but I didn't know she had this beautiful voice. And it was like, whoa, like, you're a powerhouse in surviving and you're a powerhouse in singing. So it's like, you know, we want to talk about mental health, but we also want to uplift people's mental too, because we don't see a lot of people giving credit to people, you know, to see people in competition all the time. And it's like, in the grand scheme of things, we're going to have to work together. Like, people don't understand. It's crazy because I think of, like, I be thinking of crazy stuff at the end of the world, like Squid Games and stuff. And I'm like, we going to have a team. I always put myself up for tribute because I got stage 4 cancer. So I'm like, I'm going to go first anyway. I ain't no good. Y'all can use me for tribute.
Stop.
My brother always tell you, no, nigga, I'm putting you over my shoulder and I'm carrying you. Like, he like, I'm coming. So, you know, we need those people to be our mental saviors in our lives. And I thank you for being Black women who recognize that we the people, we need this.
We need each other.
We need it. We really do. And I just want to ask as well, like, do you think therapy is effective without medication?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
You know, but if you need it, it's not a problem with taking it.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hello. Okay.
And goodbye.
And goodbye.
I thought I was in zombie land for a minute. I had to get the right dosage. So don't be afraid of it. Just know what's right for you.
Okay.
Because we all need a little something. I got some dosages and some stuff that ain't prescriptions. So don't be afraid. to
Don't
take a little
be
something.
afraid.
But yeah, what do Sharonda and Alexia, Sharonda, how do you feel about medication and therapy? Like,
Definitely, like you guys said, like you don't have to. It's definitely effective without medication. But if you need it, some people do need it to get just regulated, to get, in a system, a routine. It's not forever. And you mentioned a really good point. Sometimes when we start taking medications, it's not the right dosage. And we're quick to be like, no, I'm just going to be done with this. But it's important to stick with it and find your happy medium. And it can be really effective. And there's also alternatives to Western medicine as well. And
what
those
are some
becoming
things
more popular.
And that's another thing. Like, what are some things that you would recommend? Like, say someone you didn't know whether to give someone medication or if it was just like, I do know, and like I said, I tell my business. I was in my 20s and I had a nervous breakdown. And I ended up going to Old Vineyard for 72 hours. I was so confused. Okay, so I went to the hospital. I literally lost all my bowels and everything. I mean, it was like my nerves literally broke down. And the doctor was like, you literally had a nervous breakdown. It was at a time in my life where I was doing bad. And it was also the year that I was the age that my mom started taking drugs. And I was like, oh my gosh, my life is going so bad. I don't want to go down that path of where my mama went because of my mental issues. So I ended up going to Old Vineyard. And when I got to the hospital, and I was so sick and I was like so out of my mind. I wanted to feel better. So the doctor asked me, do you want to be admitted? I'm thinking she's talking about to the hospital, y'all. No. I gets locked in a cell and the officer has to come pick me up to go to Old Vineyard. Mind you, my grandmother's there too. She's like, what's going on? We're not knowing what's going on, but I signed papers to be admitted and I didn't know. So I had to stay there for 72 hours and I'm telling them the whole time, they have people to come in and speak to you and stuff. And I actually have a tattoo on my side from being in there because the man who was speaking, he said, nothing changes if nothing changes. And I have that tattoo on my side. So I did get something from being there, but it kind of pushed me to depression a little bit more because I was in there with people who actually had problems.
Yeah, you like, I didn't sign up for this.
Right. I'm like
I'm struggling, but they really struggling.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I didn't realize how many levels of depression, how many different, situations there are of depression for people. And it's like, you literally have to watch how you treat every single person because you never know what they're going through, what medication they're on. And I'm going to keep it real with you. I was on morphine when I had COVID at home. And I literally cried, y'all, because it made me feel so out of my body. I couldn't recognize, what was going on with me. And I said to myself, I see how people go out and just commit murders because I'm out of my mind with this medicine. And so it's just like, I'm grateful. Like I said, I'm grateful because we got to get the right people, to go inside our minds. I have a white therapist and she even admits it. She's like, Tanisha, I know nothing about what you go through as a Black woman as far as poverty and things like that because I'm a woman of wealth. I've never had to experience some of the things that you've experienced. But she said, but I am so intrigued by the way you overcome things that I never would have had to overcome in life. And so it's like, for y'all to be Black therapists or for y'all to be Black people focused on mental health, y'all have no idea what you're doing for us as a people because when we go to white therapists, they don't always understand what we're going through. When I say, my mama had to go get the stamps this month. They think about postage. They're not thinking about the EBT.
Privilege,
right?
The privilege that they have.
Not.
They don't.
Not. And so, like I said, I definitely give you guys praise because it is so needed. We know that someone in the city has committed suicide that some of us know, was a friend of mine as well. And we know that a movie star has committed, well, not a movie star, a TV show dancer has committed suicide. What are you ladies' takes on suicide and why do you think, first of all, let me ask this, do you think that the suicide rate has gone up, or do you think that we're just seeing it a lot more because it's in social media now?
Oh, wow. So I'm going to go back because you were talking about medication.
Yeah.
And another, I wanted to also mention that I am a yoga instructor, and a lot of trauma is stored in the body.
Okay.
So yoga is also a good tool, another alternative as it relates to not using medication, but we're not going to, say, oh, you don't need medication. If you need medication, you need medication.
Yeah.
But there are alternatives. If a client say, I don't want medication, okay, well, let's try this.
Gotcha.
Let's try essential oils. Let's try some aromatherapy, sleep, rest. I always tell people, are you getting adequate rest? Are you drinking water? We see sis up there, she's glowing like a light. So clearly she's drinking her water.
Alkaline out.
And minding her business, obviously.
Right.
But anyway,
that's it.
That's the key. Good skin.
Yes.
But getting adequate rest, staying hydrated, doing yoga, exercise, things like that, moving your body because, it is stored in your body. Now, as it relates to suicide, I think we do see it a lot more, but because social media, to your point, social media does bring it out, which is a good thing. But as we know, social media also can play a heavy role in our mental.
Yes.
When you're on it, and I notice you, so you're like, I'm logging off.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we have to do that. Lord knows, if I didn't have a business, I probably would take myself off, but I can't, right?
Because you got to make money.
I got to make my money.
You got to make money, and you have to promote.
I got to promote my business, right? So suicide rates have gone up. We have so much now that's at us all the time, and everything is so accessible because of social media.
Exactly.
My thoughts with suicide, that's the hard one because people, if you grew up in the church, such as myself, is looked upon as, oh,
you're going to hell.
Straight
to hell.
One-way ticket.
Yeah, that's it.
But we don't know what that person faced.
That's it.
Because like we said, like we started off with, what happens in this house stays in this house. But you're dying, you're slowly and silently struggling. And you don't have anywhere to turn to.
Exactly.
So you have to people find release and relief where they find release and relief.
And I agree. I feel like when I really gave thought to suicide, it was at my happiest moment.
Share.
It was Heaven, if you remember, it was this year or last year. We all were together, my brothers and everything. We had a great time. We went to the club with my mom and everything. Yeah. We had a great time. And if anybody knows, it's hard to get our whole family together on one accord and things like that. It's so hard. It's so hard. And so I was at a moment where I was so happy. I said, I could die right now, because I felt like that was the peak of my life with everything that was going on with cancer and stuff. Like, I just felt like my life wasn't going to get better. Like, I kept getting misdiagnosed. I kept getting cancer. This is my third time having cancer in almost 5 years. And it's like, I was facing the backlash of people like, is this girl lying? Like, why do they keep on saying she has cancer, she doesn't have cancer? And it was like, I didn't know how to explain it to people. I didn't know how to fight for myself. And it was just like, oh my gosh, this is a perfect night here. I don't want to go back to having to deal with cancer, having to figure out how I'm going to make money and stuff. I'm going to end it right here, right now, and just leave this great memory that I have in my head. Okay. And I immediately thought about that when I saw the guy Twitch. When they said he left the house, didn't say anything, and just went to the hotel. And I'm like, and everybody's like, I don't see what was wrong with him. But it's like, sometimes in your happiest moments, that's when people let go, because it's like, that's what you're reaching. You want that euphoric experience. And once you get it, it's like, all right, nothing else matters. Like, I'm out of here, But I thank God for
yes.
bringing me back, because
yes.
it's like, every time he brought me back, he gave me something else to realize he had me living for.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I get thoughts like that all the time, but I don't want to act on them. But I just wish my life was different. And I know I'm going to get you a chance to answer about suicide, Sharonda, but I know that it's a lot of men who feel the same way that I feel, and they can't express it. And I feel like that's why a lot of them do commit suicide. What do you, Sharonda, while you're speaking on suicide, do you feel like it's more in men than women? Do you feel like men feel, I mean, what do y'all think is the best way for men to communicate their mental issues, to be able to be taken seriously with, you know, with their things? And not, because I know a lot of times guys say their issues and people will be like, oh, you weak or you soft or something. You know, when should we start taking men seriously? What should click in our head for us to take men seriously when they talk about their mental health?
Honestly, just, you know, listening to people, like women and men alike. I to your point, you know, men do hold a lot more in because society says that men shouldn't show emotions. Men can't cry, men can't say, oh, I'm sad. Everything has to be expressed through anger. And so a lot of times that leaves them in a box. And even with my fiance, I find sometimes that I have to just be like, how are you doing? Is everything okay? Like, you really have to push sometimes because they don't expect for people to allow them to be able to do that.
I agree.
I missed the other part of your question, but I know like that is really important. That's been something I've really tried to pay a lot of attention to. At one point in time, I was only working with adolescent boys. And that was very eye-opening for me, like watching how boys, you know, show their emotions, or how you watch them be bothered, and you kind of got to push them a little bit to get it out, because everybody is just like, oh no, you need to be the man of the house. You need to be strong. You know, you don't cry. That's a female trait. And it's just so much pressure. Like my heart goes out to them now. Like the more, you know, attentive I am to it.
Yeah. So we talked about mental health in men. We talked about mental health in Black people. We talked about medication. Do y'all feel like I'm leaving out any aspect of mental health that we look over, or anything that you want to tell people, like that may be more inviting, you know, maybe a way of them embracing counseling, as far instead of feeling like they have to, you know, go to counseling, like make it like a routine. How do we get people to feel good about making counseling a routine thing, letting people know you don't have to be crazy to have counseling? Like counseling probably could help you from being crazy, you know? So
right. So I would just lead with that it's okay not to be okay.
Okay.
You know, as Black women, we have this imaginative cape on, and we feel like we have to save everybody. Yeah. And so with saving everybody, we put ourselves further and further down. But, you know, we get tired too.
Yes.
You know, we get tired, and we have to admit, you know, I'm tired and I am not okay. So starting with just admitting to yourself, I'm not okay right now, period. And then what do I need? Do I need someone just to listen to me? When my friends call me and I ask them, do you want me to be your friend or you want me to be your therapist? You know, what do you want from me? Right. And they'll tell me, I need you to be my friend. Okay. So here we go. Yeah. You know, and I'm giving it to them straight. But then if I'm coming to you as a therapist, I'm not your therapist, but I'm asking you some questions that probably you're not going to want to hear. Right. Right. The truth hurts sometimes. The truth hurts, you know. So anyway, just leading with, it's okay not to be okay. Right now, I am not okay. You know?
And you look absolutely okay.
I am not okay. You know, Christmas Day 2 years ago was the last day I saw my mom alive.
So sorry.
Right? Yeah. Like, and then 2 days later, she was gone. And so I'm not okay right now, but I'm here and I'm showing up.
Yeah. And I appreciate that so much because, like you said, you're not okay today, but you came through,
showed up
to speak about something that you're going through that's going to help everybody else who's going through.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I definitely I thank you guys. I appreciate y'all talking about this subject that is so necessary right now in a time where everybody's like, oh, I'm focused on me. I got to cut everybody off. And it's like, we need to be sticking together. We don't need to be, I understand your sanity and the energy and stuff like that, but we don't need to be cutting nobody off. I'm sorry. Like, I get it, your piece or whatever, but we need to be coming together. We really do. And
I wanted to piggyback off of that. I'm sorry.
Thank you, girl. Piggyback. Come on, get on.
Because this is something I feel really strongly about. It's like, no, let's not cut everybody off, but also assert your boundaries and know when you need to take a step back. Because sometimes we stay in things because of loyalty or because it's family. And really, that's hurting our mental health.
Tearing it up.
I've had to do that several times at different points and come back, and to answer your question about like how can we get more people to come to therapy, I think it's like normalizing it. I usually give like a short answer about how I became a therapist, but a lot of people don't look at me and know that I also have a lot of trauma. Like I'm a adult survivor of domestic violence, like as a child, watching my family, sexual abuse, also an adult survivor of that. I've been displaced, aka homeless, a couple times. So yeah. And I don't talk about those things because we're normal people, and it's like those bring up a lot of emotions. So it's important to normalize it, though. It's important for people to know, like, just because I look like this today doesn't mean that I wasn't doing a lot of crazy stuff. Like
Exactly.
It's me now. Yeah.
And thank y'all. I thank y'all for letting what you went through make you help others, and I feel like that's so much what we do. That's purpose, that's purpose to me, you taking what you go through and you using it to help others. And so I definitely want to thank you ladies for coming to the show today. You guys have been so amazing. You're so intelligent, and I really salute you all because like I said, you have to have strong mental health to be in mental health. And like I said, you guys are human and you go through as well. But I thank you for still being on the forefront of us, people who need you, because I'm crazy and I need it. I need about 4 or 5 therapists because I need one for every personality. So I need it. But before we go, I have my sister Heaven here. And while we're talking about mental health, my sister and I, I'm her sister mom, really. We have our sister moments where we act like sisters, but we also have our moments where I have to, put on the mom uniform because it's like, hey, I got to tell you some stuff you can and can't do. So sometimes when I do a little too much, she tells me, hey, I need a mental health day. So I've heard this from other kids. Where does this come from? Who's the therapist responsible for this at school so I can get no, it's like, but what does I need a mental health day mean to you as a teenager? Can you elaborate on that a little bit? Is it just a cop out of getting in trouble?
So what I mean by taking a mental health day is basically sometimes, out of all like school and stuff and like everything that we go through on a daily basis behind closed doors, sometimes I feel like it's okay to take a break and, do things that you enjoy, stuff like that. Yeah. So.
Okay. And why do you always say it when we...
That's the part.
Why do you always say it when it's time for some punishment or something? And you could be totally honest because that's what I want you to be. I'm not going to feel any kind of way after this or anything. Like, is it me or... do you really need a mental health day, or is it both? Can you elaborate on that?
Most of the times, like in situations, it's not really the adult. Sometimes we do really need a mental health day because, like I said, out of school and all the other issues that we may battle behind closed doors. I just feel like that we didn't take that because sometimes, when we go through situations, like you said, our sister mom moments. Yeah. Sometimes we reach our breaking points, and a mental health is just needed.
Well, I could totally respect it. We don't want these kids reaching their breaking points because that's how school shootings start, and that's how bad habits, bullying, and things like that start. So thank you, Heaven, for elaborating
you,
on that.
Heaven.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Good for you.
I want to thank our guests for coming here today. I want to thank you, Sharonda. Thank you so much. I'm actually going to send you a gift for coming on here. So thank you, girl.
Thank you.
Yes.
No
And I want to thank you to Alexia. You've been
you.
amazing, amazing, amazing.
Thank you.
And y'all, today we are going to close we're going to close this episode out with a beautiful survivor. Her name is Constance. And when I tell y'all that she has a beautiful voice and she has a beautiful story, I'm going to invite her on here to close the show out. But before I do that, I just want to let everybody know that I don't know what you're going through. I don't know what you will go through. I know that sometimes I'm not able to help physically, financially, or whatever, but I want people to know that I do care if you live or die. I do care if your heart is hurting. I do care if you feel like there is no way out. And I do want you to know that a lot of other people care as well. And you can reach out to any of us if you have any mental health issues, if you don't feel like you can't talk to anyone. If you don't want to talk to us, we'll definitely point you in the right direction. I've heard this number 988 so many times. You can text it or dial it. It's a lifeline for anyone who needs to talk to someone. If you're feeling like you can't control what you're going through, please don't be afraid. I will never judge you. Like I said, I certify myself as crazy and I laugh about it, but it's a real serious thing. And I just want you guys to know, like, you are nothing less if you take care of your mental health. You're never less of a person for taking care of your mental health. So right now I want to bring Miss Constance on here, and she's going to introduce herself and she's going to take us out with a beautiful song. And also remember that you can certainly beat this. Anything, not just cancer. You can certainly beat this. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. Here is Miss Constance.
Well, just a little about my story. I am a breast cancer survivor. Just short and sweet. Really, what happened was probably about 6 months after getting married to my husband. We had a son previously, and he was 6 months. So that marked it was a year, and then I had to go for an appointment to my doctor because that was a year out. So when I went to my appointment, they found a lump in my breast, and I was 27 at that time. Wow. And they found a lump in my breast, and she was like, okay, well, it's nothing. You're too young. Don't even worry about it or whatever. But we're just going to send you just to get checked out. So I went to go get checked out at the breast center or whatever, and they were asking me, they were like, okay, well, you're young. They said the same thing. You're young, so it's nothing. Don't worry about it. And I was like, well, I do want to just get it out of my breast. Yeah. I was like, I don't want it just sitting there. And I asked the question, I was like, well, can it turn into cancer? Just asking different questions and things like that. Mm-hmm. So after asking those different questions, they were like, well, we can give you a biopsy if you want one, if that will make you feel a little more relaxed. So I was like, yeah, sure. Just give me a biopsy or whatever. So they gave me a biopsy, and probably a few days later, the doctor called or whatever, and it was like, okay, well, it's cancer, and at that moment I was just crashing and burning. I was just like, oh my goodness, I just could not believe it. I was like, oh my God, like I got cancer. So fast forward, I had my family there and all that stuff, and they were just supportive and encouraging me and things like that everything is going to be all right. So of course I'm like, okay, well, what do I do next? Mm-hmm. So I'm talking to the physician, like, what do I do next, blah blah blah. And fast forward on, they were telling me, okay, you're gonna have to get a lumpectomy, which is just removing the lump. And I'm like, okay, cool. So we scheduled an appointment for them to remove the lump, and the date, and I'm so like, okay, I'm ready for this surgery. I'm like anxious, mental health. Like I'm really like anxious. Like every day my thoughts are just racing. I'm just up here and then I'm down here. I'm like, oh my goodness, what's going to happen? Right. What's going to happen to me or whatever. So, and I have, a kid that's a year old. I just got married, all of this stuff. So all of these changes. So I think that morning before the surgery, because you have to go get your little what is it, pre-op.
Yep.
They called me and said, we're gonna have to postpone the surgery because you're pregnant.
Oh,
So I was like, oh man. So that kind of made me cry. It just took me down here because I was like, oh my goodness, I'm ready for this to be over with.
yeah.
So I was like, oh gosh. And while people are saying congratulations, I'm like, oof, you know, like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Like what is gonna happen now?
Right.
So fast forward. So I talked with the doctors and all that stuff, and I talked with my gynecologist, and they were even talking about abortion and things like that because they were like, okay, you know, it was just different for them, I guess. So they were like, okay, well, you can, you know, get rid of, you know, it's your choice and all this stuff. And I'm like, well, and my husband and I, we discussed it and talked about it, of course, you know, as far as, you know, church and all of that stuff, spirituality. I was like, nah, this ain't it for me, you know. So anyway, I didn't get an abortion or whatever, and we went forth with the pregnancy. So they had to switch and change everything, my team and all of that stuff. So 4 months in, I got the surgery. I got my breast removed, my left breast removed, and then I got chemo a little bit after that, probably about 4 or 5 months in my pregnancy. I got the chemo while I was pregnant and all that stuff.
Oh, wow.
So
you
I
can
was
get chemo while you're pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
I never knew
Yeah.
that. I never knew that.
Yeah. So so I was doing the chemo while I was pregnant, and then a little bit after having the baby and all that stuff, I would take I was getting 2 chemos at the cancer center, and then I was coming home with a pouch and chemo, and
a baby.
with
Wow.
and a
Salute
baby.
to you, sister.
Yeah. So so then after that, you know, you have the menopause, you know, at 27 to 28. So, you know, so mental health and what you guys are talking about, it's like up and down for even me as a survivor, even after everything, because it's been 13, 14 years. Yeah, I get my dates mixed up because I get my dates mixed up. People be like, what? Yeah, because I'm like, okay, what date was this? Because you go to the doctor so much. They were like, when did you have this? Or when did you have? So a lot of surgeries, all of that stuff. I end up getting my my other breast removed. I had to get that removed later after my second child and all of that. So hysterectomy, all of that, on and on and on and on. Right. So that's pretty much my story.
Salute to you, sister.
And thank God, you know, I'm here.
Yes, thank God for you, for real.
Thank God for you.
Thank God for us.
Listen, yes.
Thank God for us.
Yeah.
Thank God for God. Thank God for God. Because we couldn't do it without you, brother.
Right.
God, I know you from the hood too, because I just know.
Look, I love you.
I know God is from the hood, because some of the things he be sending people to me for, I be like, God ain't sent you. If he did, what's the password? But yeah, salute to you, sister. Yes.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna be before you long, but look,
Feel
I
like
want
you in
everybody
church.
I want everybody to have a Merry Christmas, or you know, just we gotta live life to the fullest, like you say, and make sure that we are living it purposely. You know, make sure you're living in your purpose and seek God or a higher power for that. Because we definitely, I'm just going to be real. We definitely can't, I'm not serving a man. No man.
No.
So, you know.
I ain't even serving them that thanks. I'm really not serving in life. Nope.
Yeah. So, definitely. So I'm just going to sing a little something.
Thank you. Bless us, sister. Bless us. Bless
Let's see. I don't know about tomorrow. I just live from day to day. And I don't borrow skies may turn to gray, and I don't worry about my future, for I know what Jesus said, and today He walks beside me, and He knows what lies ahead. Many things about tomorrow I don't seem to understand, but I know who holds tomorrow, and I know who holds my hand.
Wow.
Merry Christmas.
So much. Thank you so much. Thank you. And with that, we're going to leave you and let you know you can certainly beat this. And we hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you so much to all my guests. Thank you so much to all the sponsors. Thank you, God. And have a wonderful day.